And action. It's great reconnecting with you here on the Visual Imperfections channel, this time in English. Transitioning to a new language isn't a breeze for me. Still, after weighing the argument for and against continuing in my native language on YouTube, I decided to give English a shot. It wasn't an easy call, but I'm eager to explore my potential in this language and improve my effectiveness on the YouTube. English is not my second language, it's actually the third I've picked it up. But I'm committed to producing videos that are both clear and meaningful. I hope switching from Hungarian to English will broaden my audience and offer more people helpful content. But let's refocus on today's topic. In the past two episodes, I emphasized the significance of nurturing creativity and unlocking the dormant creative voice within. I believe it's time to supplement the theoretical insights with my real-life experiences. I recently stumbled upon a video and some photos from 2 years ago taken at Pixel Photo Studio, my creative sanctuary. Back then, it was a time when we were all grappling with the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic and the ensuing restriction, which for many of us were quite incredibly stressful. Despite the daunting atmosphere, I recall how we adapted the teaching and photography courses to online platforms due to government regulations. However, sitting in front of a screen for hours trying to convey lessons to small faces hidden behind tiny frames was quite exhausting. Amidst this tension, I felt a strong desire to step into the studio one day, accompanied by Vlad, a younger photographer I work with in teaching photography courses in my hometown, and Marius, who is part of the Pixel Pro Sport team with whom I work on sports photography. Both Vlad and Marius graciously offered to assist me in creating something new that day. I share the key moment of this creative journey in today's video with you. Armed with a clear vision and 6 eggs snagged from the corner shop one early morning, I ventured into the studio to craft a triptych-style composition. Originally, I had planned for 4 images, but upon realizing that one felt redundant after sketching it on my notebook, I opted to exclude it from the creative process, focusing solely on the trio of photos. Since then, my approach has evolved, and nowadays I enter the studio with pre-drawn ideas, executing the photograph as envisioned. However, on this occasion, the idea existed only in my mind, resting on my mental shelf. Upon arrival at the studio, my first task was to sketch out my concepts, giving them a visual form and facilitating their execution on site. As you can see, my creative process kicks off with an idea, and that, given time, has the potential to evolve into a mental image. Once that mental image crystallizes, or partially does, I typically sketch it on paper. Now please, don't assume that I'm some sort of skilled or talented artist. I haven't progressed beyond stick figure drawing to this day. So, when the idea transforms into a visual blueprint, I've essentially got the photograph's concept in hand. From that point forward, the creative journey unfolds, navigating any obstacles along the way until the idea I've catched are captured through my camera lens. The initial photo poses the biggest challenge, as I attempted to delicately balance a fragile egg on the edge of the table, even having to nudge it slightly beyond its limit for the desired shot. Needless to say, I had to resort to plenty of tape to secure the egg in place, with Marius lending a helping hand. Despite our efforts, the egg slips off the table twice. Fortunately, the first time it landed on the polystyrene sheet I had prepared, but the second time it hit the floor. After the second mishap, I realized I needed to be more cautious, considering I only bought 6 eggs to the studio, and I certainly didn't want a lack of adhesive to hinder my creativity. Thankfully, Marius came through with a generous quantity of adhesive tape, and before long, I celebrated my first photo, a small but satisfying victory. Once I successfully captured the first photo, my next challenge was figuring out how to photograph an egg in freefall. And I quickly realized that achieving this shot would be quite tricky, especially since I was using only a small strobe, not a traditional studio light with high sync speed. I debated whether I freeze the egg in mid-air during its descent, or I create the illusion of movement with the help of post-processing in Photoshop. I understood that the egg needed to be positioned close to the table surface with overhead lighting to capture the moment before impact as it fell onto the table. I experimented with various setups to simulate the egg's descent, aiming to freeze the egg just before it hit the surface as if suspended in time. Once again, I turned to tape for assistance. This time, I affixed the egg to the eraser found at the end of the pencil. After positioning the lighting just right, I carefully determined the optimal height for the egg to create the illusion of imminent impact, ensuring that the resulting shadows in the photo conveyed this effect convincingly. With the height carefully measured, I securely lodged the pencil with the egg attached into a polystyrene sheet at the predetermined level. This sheet, as I mentioned you, served before as a cushion catching the egg's first fall. After a few test shots to fine-tune the setup, I successfully captured my second photo, all the while thoroughly enjoying the process alongside my two assistants. The cheerful atmosphere heightened even more during the preparation phase for the final shot. In an effort to achieve authenticity, I aimed to recreate the aftermath of an accident, with the victim sprawled on the ground and forensic outlines marking the position. That's the effect I wanted to capture in my last frame. To ensure realism, I deliberately sacrificed an egg, letting it shatter upon impact on a piece of paper from a significant height. I then outlined the shattered egg's contour with a black marker and transferred this outline onto another piece of white paper for my third photo. Needless to say, the third photo was the simplest to execute. I retained the light setup from the previous shot, placed the broken eggshell within the drawn outline, and with a few clicks, my third photo was complete. It goes without saying how much fun I had throughout this entire creative process, right? After wrapping up my planned 3 photos, we took a coffee break and I had a nice chat with Vlad and Marius, soaking in their feedback on this creative photoshoot. Once they left, I stayed behind in the studio to tidy up. As I was about to store away the remaining 3 intact eggs from the tray, a sudden realization struck me. I remembered I had a large dismantleable polystyrene egg somewhere in the studio. Seizing this opportunity, I quickly set up a small scene on the table. Since the lighting I used prior was at the hand reach, I thought, why not give it a shot and see what happens while I'm here? Unlike before, I didn't sketch anything on paper this time. I allowed myself to playfully create without worrying about the outcome or wasting time or even eggs. This time I improvised another series of 3 images utilizing the leftover tape and relishing in the creative process. While the first 3 photos of the triptych were titled EGGZISTENCE, as planned, these last 3 photos remain untitled. Nevertheless, I truly enjoyed the process of creating them. As you've just seen, there are times you approach an idea with a clear vision in mind. You can practically visualize it, especially if you sketch it out on paper or in some other medium. However, there are also moments when creative ideas spontaneously pop into your head and you just have to let them flow. Often the fear of failure holds us back from experimenting and fully expressing ourselves. But let me assure you, failure should not be feared. It's actually one of the best teachers. When something does not go as planned, it presents an excellent opportunity for self-reflection and course correction, whether it's in our own approach or in the creative process itself. Creating, it's a wonderful and fulfilling endeavor, and receiving support along the way can be truly uplifting. And it's not just about receiving help. It's equally important to offer assistance to others whenever it's possible. Just as you feel good when you receive help, I firmly believe that others will feel the same when they receive support from you or anyone else. It's worth contemplating this principle beyond the realm of photography, as collectively we have the potential to make incremental improvements that contribute to a better world. Think about it. Once again, I express my thanks for spending time here with me, and I hope you've gained insights into my personal creative process. May these insights serve you well, and I encourage you, when you are hit by inspiration, do not hold back. Let your imagination soar and make the most of each moment. Wishing you the best life for your next project. Let's get to work, and I look forward to seeing you the next time. Thank you for all.